Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So good to have you again on Deep Waters with Deborah Waters. It's a brand new week right here on the show. This is where we get to talk meaningful conversations, talk about deep, meaningful things. We get to rendezvous, we get to meet and talk, rub our minds together, break it down. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we do not agree, sometimes we argue, but most importantly, we shake the waters until they are still. My name is Deborah Waters, and this is Deep Waters with me. This is where we get to say everything, sometimes uncomfortable, but most importantly, deep. You're tuned into Reading 93.7 FM, and of course, you can watch us on TV. Yes, Silverbed TV, or you can definitely go on YouTube and search for Silverbed N24. You click on the live button to watch the show live. Thankfully, it's a live stream, so you can also drop your comments, drop your thoughts, and let us know what you're thinking, or if you have questions, feel free to join the conversation. As you already know, Deep Waters with Deborah Waters, we always bring in a coach. So, yes, if you have some mind boggling questions, you can definitely ask, and we'll definitely find a way to get your answers across to you. Of course, today we're talking about inferiority complex. Some people call it low self-esteem. Inferiority complex. Some people call it low self-esteem. And we're going to try and understand what are the signs, the subtle signs of low self-esteem. Usually when you ask people, oh, do you have low self-esteem? I don't have low self-esteem. Oh, it just feels like one bad, evil thing. But do you know the funny thing? You can be confident, you can know your worth, you can be all of that and still have some self-esteem issues. Remember, I did not say low self-esteem. I feel like self-esteem can always be, I put on my WhatsApp status the other day. I was like, oh, rate your self-esteem from 1 to 0. Which one are you? Because it can be on a 10. It can be on a 10. It can be on an 8. It can be on a 7. It can be on a 5. It can be on a 4. It can be on a 1. It can be on a 0. So when is it called low self-esteem, especially if you are from 5 and below? Is even 6, having a 6/10, is it still a low self-esteem? Thankfully, we have a coach joining us very soon to understand the topic. Inferiority complex is a feeling that you are not good enough. Simply put, it's a feeling that you're not good enough to be, sing with some people. You're not good enough to be called intelligent. Or even some people, you see them when you tell them, oh, you look good. They'll be like, really? I look good. Oh, wow. They cannot believe that you're telling them that. That is some subtle form of inferiority complex there. When you see yourself comparing yourself to others, or you are needing people's validation to feel good about yourself. And we see a lot of this on social media, maybe influencers. They post a picture, people don't like that as often. They delete it because they want likes, they want that validation. If they don't see likes on that particular video or picture, it feels like that picture is not good enough. Do you find it difficult accepting simple compliments? Are you a people pleaser? Are you a perfectionist? Yeah. When you dig deep into somebody who's always looking for perfection, there is some level of self-esteem issue embedded right in there. Are you always overcompensating? I feel like people that overcompensate, verbally, always trying to do too much, always trying to feel like they need to, work hard. And I can relate personally, because I feel like there was a time I felt like I really need to work hard to deserve everything some people tell you everybody gets it easy, but me, if I don't work hard, I will not get it. If I don't work times 2, I won't get it. My dear, it might be true. You might be right about that. But again, there might be some self-esteem issues lying down there, because why do you need to work super duper extra hard, to get the accolades that you deserve? This is what we're talking about today on Deep Waters with Deborah Waters. How would you rate your self-esteem from 1 to 10? Let me hear you talk today. Calling on 0705 993 6937 or 0705 993 7937. The number to call to be a part of this conversation is 0705 993 6937 or 0705 993 7937. How would you rate your self-esteem from 1 to 10? Are you on a solid 10, or are you on a liquid 0? Are you on a solid 10 or on a liquid 0? And as funny as that sounds, some people have no self-esteem at this point in time. I put this post out again on my WhatsApp, and somebody actually messaged me and said, you know what, I'm on a 0 right now. Like, I'm on a 0. I had to ask and say, are you joking with me? Are you serious? You can't be serious, right? Why are you on a 0? Being on a 0, some people are even on a -1, -2. How would you rate your self-esteem, at the moment? Ever walked into a room feeling like you do not belong there? Have you ever experienced that? What's your personal experience with self-esteem or low self-esteem? Do you know somebody who has a very high self-esteem or seem like they do? Because seeming like you do have a high self-esteem does not mean that you actually do. Self-esteem is usually a feeling. Is usually a knowing, and let me use more of a knowing than a feeling. It's more of a knowing, than a feeling, and sometimes you might not feel 100. So please do well to calling. I want to hear your thoughts today on Deep Waters with Deborah Waters. Which gender do you feel has more self-esteem issues than the other? Which gender do you think is a gender thing? Which gender do you think has more inferiority complex, than the other? I wanted to call in today on 0705 993 6937 or 0705 993 7937. Deep down, what really makes you feel inadequate? Some people, what makes them feel inadequate is just maybe their educational backgrounds. Maybe in their workplace they're dealing with people who have BSc, and there they have is it school stats? That can affect your self-esteem, literally, especially when everybody knows about it. What do you feel affects your self-esteem as a person? Like I was saying earlier, I said personally, there was a time that I felt like I needed to work, and I had that thought, that mindset for so long. I felt like I needed to, and of course, hard work is good, but I felt like I needed to, if I did not work times 2 or times 3, I would not see the result I want. And therefore, if you think that, they said, so as a man thinketh, so he is. If you're thinking that you have to multiply your effort, work 50 times harder before you can see a simple result. Don't get me wrong. Working hard is good, and doubling your effort is also good to see results. But when you have the mindset that when things come easy to you, they are not for you. Right? When they come too easy, be like, is it me? Like, did you just, this is definitely not for me. You feel like you are not deserving of those things if they come easy, until they come hard. Like I said, I had that mindset for the longest time, and it took some shaking, some conversation like Deep Waters with Deborah Waters to shake me off that mindset and that mentality, and to embrace that, what, I am enough, and I can, receive everything. I can get things sometimes easy, sometimes hard. It doesn't always have to come hard all the time. What is your personal experience with self-esteem? Do you even realize whether you have self-esteem? Some people don't even know whether their self-esteem is even high or low. I mean, you can call in and share, but like, see, girl, I don't even know whether I don't know where I did right now. I just know, say, this is how I feel. And then we can maybe help diagnose if, your self-esteem is quite high or low. And there's also something they call superiority complex. Somebody feeling superior. I feel like inferiority complex is feeling inferior to other people, feeling like, you and people are, you feel like people are better than you. But now superiority complex is like you're feeling like you are better than people. And that also, as confident, as good as that sounds, superiority complex, feeling like you're better than other people, can also be some subtle level. By the time you dig deep, this is Deep Waters with Deborah Waters. We don't scratch the surface, we dig deep. By the time you dig deep into that idea of somebody in, having superiority complex, feeling like they're better than others, you find out that there is some inferiority complex underneath the superiority complex. I feel like I'm speaking plenty English. Guys, please do well to join me in this conversation and calling on 0705 993 6937 or 0705 993 7937. Let's take our first call on today's show. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. Good to have you. Is that Patrice calling?
Yes, Patrick.
Yay! So good to have you. Thanks for calling.
Thank you for answering me.
Yeah, been a minute. I hope you had a good weekend.
Yes, it's raining actually. I'm
Okay, good
driving
to
home.
know. Good to know. Please talk to me. I want to hear your thoughts on the topic.
Inferiority complex is a big problem, to be honest, because I had to deal with that. my own inferiority complex was being in a gathering and feeling I wasn't maybe well dressed or wasn't looking good enough or wasn't welcomed. You know that feeling where you're in an occasion or in a gathering and everybody's talking to everybody and you're the only one nobody's talking to, or you're the only one trying to talk to everybody, you know.
Hmm.
I had
Wow.
that problem then. Yeah, I mixed with some other factors too, you know. Then what I did to combat it was to always build my character, so to speak. Sometimes I look at myself in front of the mirror and I talk to myself. You know, I kept talking to myself. I kept talking to the way I want to talk in public, the way I want to talk to people, the way I want people to see me, perceive me. You know, and it actually helped. Then again, my job helped rather.
Hmm.
My job is me dealing with people, you know, interacting with people, and I meet all shades of people, the good, the bad, the ugly, the nice ones, the good ones, you know.
Hmm.
So it actually helped me, I can say. Then I could also rate my how do you say it again? To rate what now?
Your self-esteem.
Yeah, I could actually rate my self-esteem on a 7 because I'm still in work in progress.
7 is a good number. That's an A,
Thank,
really.
thank you.
Yeah, but I would like for you to share, Patrice, if you don't mind. What was the cause of your, of the self-esteem issues that you had? What was the cause of the inferiority complex? Can you remember?
I think bully too was part of it.
Hmm.
You know, yeah, it gets to a point where you're bullied and it's somehow bring down your morale, bring down your charisma. You know,
Mm-hmm.
bullied too. Yeah, I was bullied when I was in primary school. I was also bullied in my early years in the secondary school. But after that, I told myself, no, I think I've had enough. Let me start being my own person. Now people call me the life of the party. You understand? I think
Hmm.
it's just something I worked on over the years. So bullying is actually one of it. Then um, let's take it down to our family. You know, if you particularly live in an extended family where you have a monster as a stepmother, it's also
Mm-hmm.
going to affect your self-esteem. So
Oh,
it's
that's
also going to,
true. That's
yeah, it's
actually
also going to
true.
make you feel bullied and less of yourself, you know,
Hmm.
because there's nobody
Interesting.
to talk to, you know, like in the Western world or the developed countries, they have therapy for this, you know, conversation rooms where you could go and just talk it out. But here you
Hmm.
have to deal with it on your own, you know. So it's either you're going to let it make you or you're going to let it mar you. But I didn't
Interesting.
allow it to mar me. I allowed it to make me who I am today.
Interesting. And how old were you then at the time you discovered and tried to fix it?
Oh, I was very little. Like I'm from a broken home actually. I think my
Oh dear.
parents separated when I was maybe still in my primary school. So you could
Wow.
imagine the number of years I went through what I went through to become what I am.
Oh dear. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm
Yeah.
happy that you turned out the way you turned out now. Even
Thank you.
better, confident,
Thank
and someone with a quite high self-esteem. Thank you so much for sharing, Patrice.
thank you very much. You have a lovely evening, Debbie.
You too. Bye bye. All right, Patrice, please, are you following us on Instagram, Patrice, or on Facebook? I'd love for you to join our community on Instagram or Facebook at deepwaters_podcast on Facebook and Instagram. Or you can just follow me, Deborah_Waters, and so that we can link up, this phone conversation. Let's link up, afterwards. Let's know what's up. Anyways, this is Deep Waters with Deborah Waters, and we're talking about inferiority complex. We're asking what are the subtle signs of low self-esteem. And thank you so much, Patrice, for sharing that. You told us what caused your self-esteem issues, how you discovered it, and how you were able to pull through out of it. And when we talk about bullying is such a huge topic that I feel like we don't really talk about. And I want to say, I want to shout out to the lady who was bullied in Abuja, the student that was bullied, that the video was moving on social media, and she even died from the incident. That is so painful. Or did she die? I think I'm over she didn't die. Did she die from the incident? Anyways, but shout out to her. Bullying is, I feel like it's one, especially from back then in school. I feel like it's a root cause of a lot of inferiority complex. When you feel like your other mates are there, they are better, they're bigger, and then they make you even feel smaller, and that thing just gets stuck in your head, and then you can't even function properly, and you don't even know until you realize that this is a problem, or you start to shake, or you start to sweat, when you are in some places, because you feel like you are not just enough. What is your self-esteem story? What is your inferiority complex story? I'd love for you to share with me on Deep Waters with Deborah Waters. Please do also calling on 0705 993 6937 or 0705 993 7937. Do you know anyone who has superiority? Maybe it's not even inferiority complex here. Maybe it's superiority complex. You feel like you're better than others. I don't know. I'm looking for somebody who's feeling it now, who is discovering themselves. I also feel like everybody's a work in progress. I like that Patrick says, "Oh, I'm a 7, on 10." I'm sure that there are times also that Patrick feels like she's a 10 over 10. Sometimes you just feel like you have 20 over 10. And then sometimes you're like, okay, let me come back to my defaults. My default is 7, and it's good to say that, because some people come and tell you, "Oh, I'm a 10 over 10," but deep down they are not 10 over 10. So it's not about what you say. Like I said, it's a knowing, and it's also a feeling. This is Deep Waters with Deborah Waters. Join the conversation calling on 0705 993 6937 or 0705 993 7937. On that note, I'd have to go on a short break. When I get back, I have a mindset coach joining us in a bit. We're going to dive even deeper. You thought we thought we've gotten somewhere on the show. Yeah, we've gotten. But if you are not tuned in after this break, then you're going to be missing a lot, because we're getting to the depths, the deepness of the water. Right. And yes, indeed, you're about to have some mindset gasm. I know you're used to orgasm, but we're talking about mindset gasm today. So yeah, don't make your mind spoil. We are coming to the mindset basically today on Deep Waters with Deborah Waters. So far, we've been talking about inferiority complex, and we're asking what are the subtle signs of inferiority complex, or should I call it self-esteem or low self-esteem? And like I talked about it earlier, I said low self-esteem is that feeling of you're not good enough. That feeling of others are better than you in probably all ramifications, or in some ramifications. But anyways, I don't want to talk too much on that, because we actually have a coach in the house who would help us break it even down, right here on the show. If you have thoughts and questions and opinions, please do also calling on 0705 993 6937 or 0705 993 7937. Earlier on, I took a call from Patrice, and she talked about how she discovered that she had self-esteem issues, and it was caused by bullying when she was in school, and then she had to fight it with all her might, and now she's on a 7. She's on a good 7 over 10 if she's to rate her self-esteem at the moment. How would you rate your self-esteem from a scale of 1 to 10? Is it on a solid 10 or on a liquid 0, like I said earlier? Please do also calling. I have a special guest with me in the studio, somebody who will help us actually achieve that mindset gasm I told you about earlier. She's a certified mindset, emotional intelligence, confidence, and REBT coach. She loves to see people live their best lives and their best and even elevated version of themselves. She does this through her online courses and group coaching and one-on-one coaching. She's a lead volunteer of the Blissful Vines Network, a faith-based NGO targeted at helping youths live their good life in all phases of their life. This woman has she wears hats, different types of hats, and this I think you guys call it. She does so many things. How do they? There's a way they put it. There's a way, I don't know why I cannot place it right now, but there's a way they say, "Oh, she does so many things and she's a master of all." I know you know what I'm saying, but it's not coming to me right now. She's the executive director of the Discovery Point Company, an organization into consultancy, coaching, and provision for digital services. Guess what? She's also a caterer. She has a catering and event planning hub. She's an author also. of a book titled "You Are Enough," a book where she was vulnerable enough to, show us her battles with self-esteem and how she overcame. And the name of her other book is Mindset Gasm. Deriving the greatest pleasure from your mind and more still coming on. She has two books, to her name and more still coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, I have with me in the studio Tenacious Teju, aka Teju Mojesu Oluremi. Hello.
Hi, Deborah.
So good to have you there.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited. I feel like this topic is long overdue, and we should be talking about it right away.
Let's go on.
Let's dive into the deep waters.
Let's get into it. I'm ready.
Anyways, okay, let's get right into it. So mindsets. Before we even talk about mindset, let's start with self-esteem or inferiority complex. When that word, if you want to break this down to the layman, to somebody, I know I've tried my best to say feeling of not being good enough. I don't know if that does justice to it, but how would you describe, self-esteem issues or low self-esteem or inferiority complex, as somebody who has, been there before?
Thank you very much once again, Deborah. So, inferiority complex is seeing that everybody is better than you. I'm explaining this to the layman. You see yourself as not being enough, just like you said, but then you see everybody better than you, even if you have some traits that you are better than them, you are blind to it. You just see everybody as better than you, and it places you in a room you don't even want to be in. So that's the inferiority complex.
What do you mean a room you don't want to be in? Well, have you been in? Of course, you've been in that room before.
I've been in that room. I've
What does it
spent
look
years in that room. I think I was in that room for 4 years.
Wow.
And it wasn't a nice room to be in, thinking about it now. Inferiority complex, how it started for me, I didn't know. When I was in primary school, my classmates were always calling me meat because I'm on the big side and I have this big leg. Yorubas call it Ishuese. They call it Ishuese. So I had that. I was fat and everything. So my classmates were always calling me meat. I was always chasing them around the compound, thinking it was just play. Oh, stop calling me that, and everything. But I didn't know that subconsciously it has eaten in my mind. So when I got to secondary school, it played out. I was, or better still, I saw myself as the fattest in the room, even though there were other fatter people.
Wow.
But I saw myself as the fattest, and I was like, I'm fat and I'm ugly, because I've heard it that fat people are fat people are ugly people.
Wow.
So I saw myself as ugly. I saw myself as not brilliant. Even though I did very well in my academics, it affected me. I was there for 6 years in secondary school. I was timid. I tried joining the press. I was always casting the news on the assembly, but then sometimes I'm always stammering, even though I'm not a stammerer. But then it continued. I gained admission to University of Ibadan to study communication and language arts. And you would think that the confidence would come.
Yes, as per communication
As per
and
communication.
language.
That was where it started.
That's
God.
why it became a monster in your face.
It
that you
became
had
a
to.
monster. There was this fat, like everybody knows she's fat. Everybody knows this babe is so fat and huge and everything. But then I was like, this girl is not fat. I felt like, oh my, I'm very, very fat. So anytime lecturers were in class and they were asking questions, I'd rather not answer, even though I know the answers.
Just you don't want that attention on yourself.
I don't want that attention. Don't look at me and I won't look at you. Please don't just look at me. My hands will be all sweaty. I'll be shaking in class.
Wow.
100 level, 200 level, 300 level. It was a monster. I could only be confident among my friends, among my roommates, my family members. But when we go out for social gatherings, you see my head's bowed. And then I was almost having a bad posture because I was always like this, bent and everything.
Wow.
It affected me until... Should I share my breakthrough
Before
story now?
the
Okay.
breakthrough, we're getting there. I also wanted to know how it affected your relationships. If you were that, concerned about your self-esteem and it was that low. How did you deal with the opposite sex?
Then I was always saying a prayer in my heart. Don't let any boy look at me.
Wow.
don't let any boy look at me. I didn't know it was even going to affect me. That story for another day. But then my prayers there was like, okay, if I was passing the boys hostel, we have in UI, we have Indie all, Zik all. And if you are coming from Idia to Faculty of Art, you have to pass that place if you're not going by taxi. And I'll be like, I don't want anybody to see me. I don't want anybody to look at me. It's affected me. So even though guys came and were saying you are beautiful, me, beautiful, how would you say that? I'm not beautiful. I'm not. Even though I was always well dressed, like very well dressed, I was always doing this color combination and everything and all. But then I did see myself as beautiful. My classmates would say that I love the way you combine your colors. I put on lemon shirt, lemon belt. My mom bought me all these colored accessories and all. But then with the opposite sex, I'm like, they are lying and I can't believe them. So when they even say you are beautiful, I don't see myself as a guy. Even went ahead and bought me a ring in 100 level. He gave me that ring. He was like, this should be a reminder to you that anytime you see this ring, you are pretty. That night I took it and I threw it inside the water because I'm like, this guy just is just playing with me. It really affected
Wow,
me.
which water did you throw in? I hope it's not.
There was this stream along Tech Road in UI. So Tech Road is like a quiet place. It's a lover's place in the night. It's a lover's place in the night. And we're there in the night and he was just telling me that you are pretty, you are beautiful. I'm graduating very soon and just take this ring as a remembrance. I threw it away. I didn't see myself as beautiful. And any guy that tells me I'm beautiful, I just know that they're lying.
What's the difference between being timid or shy and having a low self-esteem?
Timidity is better than low self-esteem, although both of them are negative. Now, timidity, the person is just scared of social relationships, scared, just want to be in his or her own space. But low self-esteem, the person feels that everybody is better than him or her. I remember, I think I was in 300 level. I felt like these ladies from Queen's Hall, especially ladies in law, in faculty of law, they are better than we in faculty of art because the way they speak their Queen's English and everything. I'm like, I don't want any friend from law department. I don't want, because I can't be looking for Queen's English to impress them and something like that. So it affected my social relationships. But then timidity is a little bit higher, better say a little bit better than low self-esteem. Low self-esteem is not a room to be in because you just see everybody better than you. Even if you are a good person, you are blind to see the goodness in yourself.
Is it possible to be confident? You know, some people, you just look at them and the way they carry themselves, the aura, the confidence. Is it possible to be confident and still have a low self-esteem?
Well, you can. It's very possible. A person can feign confidence just to cover up that low self-esteem.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, in 300 level, I had, I think I had an outing or something and I was to speak. I still had low self-esteem, but then I had to feign confidence so that I wouldn't be laughed at or I wouldn't become the next viral video. So I had to feign confidence and it worked for me because I had watched YouTube videos of how to, I'm very good with that. Anything I want to do, I check YouTube. So it was like, okay, how to build confidence even though you have low self-esteem, and YouTube, it's brought out so many resources. So I did that. But then after that, I went back to my low self-esteem. So it's possible to have both. But once the person can realize that, oh, I'm suffering from low self-esteem, I need to work on it, on my journey to becoming confident, it can be worked on.
So how can I find out if I have low self-esteem? And sometimes people don't even see it, you know. For me, the time I discovered that I had some level of self-esteem issues, I won't say low self-esteem, but I had some level of self-esteem issues, was the time where I felt like I shared it earlier with my audience, that I felt like I had to work ×2 or ×3. If things come too easy to me, I'll just feel like, no, this is, I'm not deserving of this. It's too easy. You know, if I have not worked double or worked triple, I don't feel like I deserve that thing. So it took some digging into to discover that, wow, that's some level of actually self-esteem issue. Feeling like when they come, it's not for you, or you feeling like, you know, when it comes, it's not good enough until you have worked so hard for it. So I looked really confident, you know, dressed confident, but it was something that it was in there. It was, you had to remove all the things on it to find it, because it's an underlayer. For some people who are, it's there, but people cannot see it, or you don't even know it. and to do some, some other ones are very obvious. What are the signs to look out for to know that, see, I have a self-esteem issues, whether subtle or, deep?
Okay, thank you very much. Number one, you find out that you withdraw from every other person because you are like, okay, these people, they are better than me. So let me just stay on my own. Let me be in my own world. Let me do my own thing. If I get 100, fine. If I get 20, fine. I'm fine with it, but I'm on my own. Then another sign to look out for is that you don't want to take compliments. A person, when they say, oh, you are beautiful, you are well dressed, you're like, oh, really? This dress, I bought it at, no, I can't be well dressed. No, 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 no. Oh, you smell nice. Smell nice, really. Oh, you are looking fresh. It's a real I'm using you. It's it's
Just
vaccine
trying
I'm
to
using. Downplay the compliment. You need to accept a compliment. Accept it with confidence, and these are signs, and they might be subtle. Another sign is that you see every other person as more beautiful, more outspoken, better than you. This is the obvious sign, because you just, there's so much good in you, there's so much growth in you, there's so much beauty in you, but you are blind to see that, and that's like the most obvious one. You just see every other person as good, as better, as just gone ahead more than you, and that's one of the obvious sign. And then solution comes when you become aware of it, because there are some people, they don't know that they have it. Like this compliment thing, some people might just think that, oh, let me just be humble, let me be humble, let me just it's already I'm using, it's Vaseline I'm using or something, and they feel it is it's humility, not knowing that it's it's stores subconsciously. You begin to see yourself the way you have said it. So your words are shaping your reality. You begin to see yourself the way, okay, now you've downplayed the compliment. You begin to see yourself at that point where you have downplayed it too.
Yes.
Assuming you elevated it, you accepted that compliment, you would see yourself better. You see yourself confident with that compliment that you've gotten.
What about people who, when you correct them, they don't want the correction. They start to, why are you correcting me? Thoughts of that.
They are trying to hide that self-esteem issues that they have, and it's so common among young people. You correct them and they're like, who are you to correct me? Or don't correct me, I'm fine, I am me, I love myself the way you are. And
Period.
and there is something I love to say, that okay, you love yourself the way you are, can you marry you? Can you be your own roommate? Not even talking about marriage now. Can you be a roommate to yourself? So if you say I am me, anybody that doesn't love me, get out, I'm good like this, I'm bad like that and everything, can you stay with yourself for 24 hours and enjoy your own company? So that's why I say, and people like this, they just don't want correction. This is a form of defense that they are trying to hide that low self-esteem, and most times it comes from short people.
Okay.
Apologies to short
Wow.
people.
You had to
I'm
do that.
short too.
Okay, speaking of superiority complex, do you feel like superiority complex is a form of inferiority complex? Like feeling like you're always better than people? Is it subtle? When you go in, will you find out that, oh wow, it's a feeling of not good enough? That's what makes you feel like you are better than people.
Superior.
Before you answer that,
Okay.
this is Deep Waters with Deborah Waters. I am with the mindset coach, the REBT coach, self-esteem coach, whatever you want to call her. She's right here with me in the studio, and you can call in if you have thoughts and questions. Tenacious Teju. She's been there, she's done that. So if you have thoughts and questions and opinions, please do also calling on 0705 993 6937 or 0705 993 7937. I would really love to hear your thoughts. Now, superiority complex, is it a form of inferiority complex, or it does on another level on its own?
It's on another level, but then these people tend to see themselves more than who they are. But then if you dig deep, you see that there's a form of void that they are trying to hide. There's a form of what's the word, there's a gap that they are trying to just cover up with feigning that superiority, thinking, oh, I'm better than this person. Oh, okay, this person doesn't have connection, I have all the connections, and okay, at least that places me better than this person. Comparison can be a form of gap in such a person, that, oh, the person is suffering from comparing himself with someone else or herself with someone else, and then enters into the room, or better say into the world of superiority complex. So there is a gap in that person. That person is just trying to feign with superiority complex.
Interesting. That's really, really deep. Of course, this is Deep Waters with Deborah Waters, and we're digging even deeper. If you just tuned in, you're tuning in just in time to be a part of the conversation. Calling on 0705 993 6937 or 0705 993 7937. I know this topic is a topic where we actually get to go inside. People want to listen and all that, but I mean, I invite you, because I don't want to be like, Deborah, I called in. Deborah will not think that if she has low self-esteem, or Deborah will now know that I have self-esteem issues. Me, I've told you my own, that I've once had one too. But is it possible to actually have 100% self-esteem at every point in time?
You can have it, but not every point in time. It's fluctuates. Situations of life will come that will choke
Will humble you.
Situations will come and it would, you have 100% self-esteem. It chokes it, and like Nigerians will say, it choke, right? Situations would come and it would humble you, and then that 100% would come to 20%. It now depends on you to be intentional about bringing it back to 100%.
Interesting.
But situations definitely will happen.
Okay, we'll talk more on that in a bit. Let's take a caller. Hello. Hello. All right, please do to call back on 0705 993 6937 or 0705 993 7937. This is Deep Waters with Deborah Waters. We're talking about self-esteem, low self-esteem, inferiority complex, superiority complex. If you have a personal experience, you have thoughts, you have questions, please do to calling on 0705 993 6937. Let's take another caller on today's show. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, good to have you on the show. Thanks for calling in. Deep Waters with Deborah Waters.
Good evening. This is Olawale on the line.
Good to have you, Olawale. Thank you so much for calling.
For being person having low esteem, is it any symptom that somebody can be feeling in the body, or naturally, or maybe physically, something that some person can feel?
Okay, interesting. Thank you so much for calling. I appreciate it. Oh yeah, so you said, do you have a physical reaction? If I'm to rephrase what you did, can we have a physical reaction from low self-esteem?
Okay, so it starts from the inwards and it appears on the outward. Now, a physical reaction is that you find yourself drawing back from people. Just like me, you find yourself having sweaty hands. You find yourself just doing things that you yourself on a normal basis want to do. So it starts from the inward feeling and it overpowers the physical feeling.
That's why they say it's a mindset thing. So
exactly.
Yeah, it's just like a mindset. Like anything you think, as you have thoughts, so
it becomes a reality.
Yeah, definitely.
Reality.
So yeah, you were speaking about how the mind, the self-esteem can dwindle, up and down. What's the lowest you've ever been after, coming out of self-esteem issues?
Okay, well, the lowest I've ever been, on a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 100.
1 to 10 is okay.
1 to 10, that should be, let me say, 4%. 4%, yeah. And that was when I felt as though all my inputs, I wasn't getting the outputs. I wasn't getting the results. And the people I started coaching before, were getting the results.
Wow.
And I'm like, what's going on? So I felt so bad. I've invested in courses. I've bought books. I've spent my life savings on courses and everything. So from intentionally, I started seeing myself that, okay, so people were not paying for my courses as at then. I think that was 2019. Yeah, 2019. People were not paying for my courses, and I was inviting guest facilitators. I was giving them honorarium and everything. But then I think something happened, and I just had to see myself that I am worthy for people to pay for my courses. I am worthy for people to buy my books. I am worthy. I started affirmations, and it really worked for me. Now people pay for my courses. In fact, my courses get sold out and everything.
Wow,
So I
interesting.
started to, but I've been on a low even after coming out of low self-esteem. I was on
So
4%
sometimes
then.
you can calm down and sometimes you can bump
When
it up.
situations of life come.
Before you tell us how to bump it up anytime it comes down,
Okay.
how can we, for somebody who is in chronic self-esteem issues, they don't want to withdraw from people, they have, it's on a chronic level. How can they, how did you step out of it? Before you answer that, let's quickly take this call. Hello. Hello. Hi, Deep Waters with Deborah Waters. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello. Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for calling. What's your name?
Yeah, I'm calling.
What's your name?
This is Perpetual calling from Ibadan.
Perpetual. Thank you so much for being perpetual.
On the platform. I have a question to ask.
Okay.
Yeah, well, like if you're in a situation whereby you know that okay, you are brilliant, you know your ability, like when you're in school, you know that oh, you are very good and stuff like that. But when you left school, you now notice that those that were below you, those that were not even up to you at school, they are now moving further than you, like they've gotten the job, they are now in higher places. But you that you knew your strength, your ability, you know that oh, I was good when I was at school. I'm yet to get to that place I wish to. So, and at the point you now distance yourself
From
from
them,
your friends, you
because
distance
they are doing
yourself
better
from the
than you,
group.
obviously.
Yeah, you distance yourself from the platform. You don't want to talk because you don't want people to ask where are you now. So I call that inferiority complex, or you're a bit jealous or envy, something like that. Just that's my
Okay.
question.
All right. Thank you so much for calling. I appreciate. Okay, talk to her.
Okay, so
So what is that?
that's inferiority complex. And why is it inferiority complex? Because you are not getting the job doesn't mean that you are not valuable or that you do not have anything to offer. You don't have the job, yes. You can do something that would elevate you. You can volunteer. You can intern. You can do something. You can
But
learn
didn't
a
you hear
skill.
her? She said she was doing better than them, and
I
now they
heard.
are doing better than her.
I
And
heard.
I can relate with that feeling.
I heard. So
It's
I'll tell you what. When I graduated from, okay, that was 2016, and I finished NYSC. All my friends had gotten jobs in Lagos, and I didn't have a job. I was always in the room crying. I would see them post on WhatsApp status. They're in the office, sit on, all those pictures.
Yes.
Oh God! And they give motivational
Cool.
captions. And you're like, I'm doing this. And then you even speak with them. Sometimes I even ask them, okay, if there are openings in your place and everything. And they're like, okay, no problem, no problem. There's no problem that they won't even get back to you.
Yeah.
But what did I do? When I saw that I had cried so much, the pillow was even already saying, this tears is so much. I volunteered. The person wasn't paying me, but the fact that okay, I could step out of the house and I could just offer something. I offered to be somebody's EA. So she had a foundation, a non-governmental organization, and I would be there at the office. I would get there, sweep the floor, do everything and
Wow.
all, and welcome my guests and everything. Before going home, I would still sweep. The next day, I'm coming back
And
to
they were not
sweep.
paying you.
They were not paying me. Not even, oh, take this 2,000
Thanks for
naira,
coming or
thanks for
something.
coming, or tea fare or anything. And then my mom would be like, Teju, go and look for a job. I'm looking for it, but then let me build myself. So there, whenever my friends are talking, oh, they are doing this, they are doing that, they are doing that.
say
I'm
your
like,
own too.
I'm also volunteering and I'm learning
And they
this.
don't even have to know that you're volunteering, actually.
You get it. And I just gave it a name. I'm a project manager. And
Hey.
truly, I was
And because you knew it, the job came.
exactly. So I was working in that and a job came, and I was able to put the skills I learned, the project management, the interpersonal skills, working under pressure. I was able to put it in my CV, and that placed me on an edge to get the job.
That is absolutely beautiful. So those are people who have discovered that, oh, I have self-esteem issue, I have inferiority complex, I withdrew it from my friend because, I can't deal that with the fact that they're doing better than me and da da da. how can they, apart from now you've given us life examples to go out and just start doing it, but for people with self-esteem issues, how can they, step out of it, overcome it? How did you overcome yours?
Okay, so let me start from the question. There's people truly with chronic self-esteem issues that even if I tell them that, oh, see yourself as beautiful, they won't see. So number one is to surround yourself with people who see good in you, not people who talk you down. Surround yourself with people who, okay, you tell them that, oh, or you have friends that you can tell that I'm feeling this way, and they're like, oh, you are not this, so you are not this, you are not that. So I remember I had a friendship clique that I could just pour out my heart to. I could tell them that I feel this way. I would ask them, enter into their DM, do you think I'm fat? And they'll be like, you can work on it, but it's not like you are fat. That's how they would answer. You're not fat, but you can work on it. And I'm like, okay, what's up with the, okay, they would ask, there was this healthcare lady, she was like, okay, what's your BMI? You're not fat for your age, you're not fat. I'm like, I'm fat though. And so have friends that elevate you, even though you talk yourself down.
One.
Have friends that elevate you. Then practice affirmations. Affirmations work a lot. The thing is that the mind doesn't know the difference between joke and reality. So anything you say, it soaks it in like a sponge. So if someone says, I don't want to say if I say, but let me say, if I say I'm a failure repeatedly, very soon I start failing. It's because the mind doesn't know, oh, this is a joke. The mind cannot sieve.
Wow.
Especially if it stays in the subconscious mind. Oh my God, the person is done for life. The person starts seeing himself or herself as a failure. So if you keep on saying it, so now the thing is it's not called deceive, but then it's to twist the plot. You keep on saying the reality you want to see. So if you are a person with low self-esteem, you keep on saying, I am bold. I am confident. People loves me. I love people. I love being with people.
I accept compliments.
I accept compliments. That really helped me a lot. And I wrote it in a sheet of paper. I pasted it in my room then. So even if I don't say it, I'm seeing it. And anything you see, oh my God, once you are able to see it, you are able to step into it. So once you see it and you behold it, you can become it. So the more you behold, the more you become. So I kept on seeing it and I kept on saying it. So even though I wasn't confident then, the confidence
started coming.
It started coming.
Also, you have been saying it
I've been saying
over
it,
and over
and
again.
words have a way of manifesting. So the more you speak, the more it manifests. So affirm yourself. Then also be deliberate about gaining a high self-esteem. Be deliberate about it, because nobody will come and pull you, have an healthy self-esteem. Nobody will pull you. Only you can tell yourself that I want to change from low self-esteem. So be deliberate about that and take steps as regards that.
Interesting. Do you have more?
No, that's all.
I think the same also applies for when it dwindles down. You just pump
Exactly.
it up with some words, reset your mindset,
You get
ginger
it.
yourself,
Be with people. Seriously. Be with people that encourage you, that, oh, no, you are this, you are that.
Interesting. Let's take one final call before we end the show. Hello. Can you hear me? Hello.
Hello.
Hi, good to have you on the show with Deep Waters with Deborah Waters. What's your name?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I want to ask a question.
Go ahead.
On the video, on the audio,
Okay.
on the video.
Okay.
Hello.
You want the video audio? Give us. We can hear you. Oh dear. Oh God. On the video, the audio, the video. Ebola, where are we going? Oh dear, we have just a minute or two to wrap up the show. So dear caller, if you need to call, your time is now to call. Tenacious Statue, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on inferiority complex and the rest. Social media, what role does social media play on inferiority complex? Good or bad?
God.
And how to avoid it? We have less than 30 seconds.
Okay, so, oh my God, it's both good and bad.
Okay.
But I would say the negative, depending on how the user uses it. Because the user might follow people that, how do I put it? The user might follow people that affects the self-esteem. When you see your mate doing better than you, definitely there's this feeling of, oh, I wish, why is this not me? Why is this not me? So for personally, for me, once I see that, oh, I'm already having self-esteem issues, sometimes I mute the person for a period of time.
Okay.
It helps me.
You just mute them.
I mute them for
For your mental health.
seriously, and that doesn't mean you're not my friend.
I
You're my
know.
friend.
I think I do that too. I restrict some people actually for my mental health.
Exactly.
Hello. Okay, we have to let this go. Thank you so
That's
much,
all.
Anashas Teju, for being for
Thank
sharing
you
your
so much.
story and for being completely vulnerable with us. How can people, find you, be a part of your course, for mentorship, for someone who have been there, done that, what's your social media handle?
All right, thank you so much. Okay, so on Instagram,
Okay.
I can be found at the Mindset Fixer.
Okay.
At the Mindset Fixer, and then or at the National Stage. Either I can be found with that.
Okay.
And okay, that should be all. I
Okay,
wanted to say I have a program coming up.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I have a program coming up for entrepreneurs and professionals. That's by August 24.
Okay.
It's tagged When Professionals Meet.
Okay.
And it's to help professionals to be creative, innovative, and to think outside of the box.
Alright.
We are going to be hosting a host of speakers like Funtoy Boye, Abiola Didi, and some others holding at the Bonkayaba by 10 a.m.
Okay.
So
So
it's going to
and
be a
once
great
they
time.
follow your page, they'll be able to get all the info that they need.
All
I think that's very
information,
important.
all information.
Tenacious Teju, right?
Yes,
Or
at the Mindset Fixer.
on Instagram.
Yes,
and
please.
even Facebook.
And Facebook.
On Facebook. Good. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate. And to my listeners and viewers, thank you so much for calling in, for being a part of the show. The person, the audio video guy, I really wish you called, and asked your question, but maybe you can, DM us your question. Deep Waters with Deborah Waters on Facebook and Instagram. Or you can just go slide into at the Mindset Fixers and DM and ask your questions. I'm sure she would be glad enough to answer your question. I will leave you with this deep quote of the day by Eleanor Roosevelt, and it says, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Eleanor Roosevelt, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. And that was Deep Waters with Deborah Waters. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Deborah Waters. I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye for now.